Labor Secretary Marty Walsh trying to take some heat off the White House, saying Joe Biden is not to blame when it comes to inflation.
Quote, inflation is a problem. Inflation, it was not caused by this administration. Inflation is not caused by the amazing work that's been done in this legislative Congress about rebuilding the infrastructure in America. Joining us live is Dr. Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation. Dr. Roberts, is anybody buying it? Marty Walsh saying inflation was not caused by this administration. You also have the president out there saying that this election cycle is not a referendum, it's a choice.
Well, good to be with you, Carly and Todd. It's a shame that so many members of Biden's cabinet are as dishonest as the president himself. You and I both know, because we've talked about it over the summer, that when you look at charts regarding inflation over the last 2 years, there's a strong correlation from that moment that President Biden took office in January of 2021, each month inflation ticking up and intensifying when the really terribly named Inflation Reduction Act was passed. All that did was make sure that inflation would be around to stay. And furthermore, as you talked about in your previous segment, perhaps the biggest problem, in addition to government spending itself, in spite of what the Labor Secretary says, is the Biden administration's war on energy. Americans feel that every single time they go to the pump. They feel it every single time they go to their grocery store. And I think as a result, the president's party is going to face a shellacking when we look at election results tomorrow night.
Let's go over the numbers once again. Inflation hitting everyday items such as gas, up 18%, food at home, up 13%, rent up 7.2%. I want to focus on something else Walsh said. He said our economy will be getting stronger thanks to job growth. He said it when he also made that quote that Carly read. How much longer can the White House brag about jobs when every single job expert predicts we're going to lose a lot of jobs coming up here in 2023? I've heard labor predictions, 7% unemployment. How much longer can they lie to us on that?
Just a few more days, Todd, because the result of the election isn't just going to be that the Democrats lose control of both the House and the Senate. It's that there will be policy consequences as a result. You know, the Heritage Foundation, we couldn't care less whether it's a Republican or a Democrat Congress. We're a nonpartisan entity. But we are going to be driving very hard as the accountability partner of that new conservative majority to reverse the policies that have created this mess to begin with. And so when it comes to jobs, unfortunately, we do not celebrate this because this is a pain that every American family is feeling. We're going to have a year or more of very stagnant job growth. Ultimately, what's going to happen is that Americans are going to have to buckle down. We're going to have to realize the policy consequences of some poor political decisions we've made. But at least the good news, the silver lining in the near term, is that there will be a conservative majority in Congress, and they do need to deliver on the will of the American people.
Dr. Roberts, Republicans are seeing their largest lead over Democrats when it comes to who voters trust, when it comes to crime. Republicans lead by over 20 points, if you can believe it. And according to your foundation, the Heritage Foundation, 25 out of the 30 cities with the highest murder rates are run by Democrats. But you hear Governor Kathy Hochul on the campaign trail trying to make the argument that Democrat-run states are safer. So how do you feel about her message? And tell us more about this Heritage Foundation study.
Thanks, Carly. I think Governor Hochul should go to Rochester, New York, which is in the top 10 of homicide rates, as my colleagues point out in that report, and ask the people there if they feel safe. And ultimately, that's the question that American people are asking themselves, whether they're New Yorkers or Pennsylvanians or living in Wisconsin. Are we better off now than we were when the radical left took office? And the answer is a resounding no. They've lost not just their economic security, but as that study points out by my colleagues, their physical security, whether it's Rochester or Philadelphia or Milwaukee, all in the top 10. This is driving Americans' rejection of the radical left agenda. And so ultimately, what I would encourage viewers to do is go to heritage.org, take a look at that report. It's a diagnosis not only of a very difficult problem we must solve in the United States, but as we always do, as the outpost for the everyday American in Washington, D.C., a very serious set of solutions that, going back to a previous point I made, this new conservative majority coming into D.C. better be prepared to do it, because they will lose the support and will of the American people if all they want to do as the majority is come to D.C. and attend cocktail parties.
Dr. Kevin Roberts, thank you very much, sir. Enjoy your Monday.